The defense has rested its case in the Kim Taylor trial, and the jury is now deciding the fate of the woman accused of election fraud in the effort to get her husband elected to office. KTIV's Matt Hoffman spent the day in court, as he has throughout the course of this trial. He joins us live from outside the federal courthouse now. And Matt, any word on those deliberations?
Yeah, Larry, those deliberations started just before 2 o'clock when the jurors left the courtroom. We did see them just a few minutes ago leave the courthouse, so apparently no verdict today. And the judge telling them, take all the time you need. They could go into tomorrow, or they could even go into next week after a Thanksgiving break. Now, the courthouse did close at 5 o'clock today. Like I said, apparently without a verdict. In that case, the jurors would come back tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. to resume deliberations. But if they can't reach a verdict by 5 o'clock Tuesday, they'll be dismissed for a Thanksgiving break, and then they'll come back November 27th. The defense presented only a handful of witnesses today, mostly focusing on Kim Taylor's truthfulness and her standing in the community. Prosecutors had little cross-examination and chose not to present any rebuttal evidence. For closing arguments, prosecutors first showed a photo of Kim Taylor holding a Bible as her husband, Supervisor Jeremy Taylor, was sworn in. Prosecutors said Taylor did, quote, anything necessary to get her husband elected. They also recapped the 3 family units who were allegedly victimized. Now, in its closing argument, the defense said Kim Taylor, quote, left a big wake, but she shouldn't be punished for these get-out-the-vote activities. They also say Kim Taylor did not have criminal intent, and if she did do something wrong, it was simply a mistake. And of course, guys, we'll continue to monitor the situation. And as a reminder, there are no cameras allowed in federal court. So make sure to check out our online version of the story at KTIV.com. Guys?
All right. Thank you very much, Matt Hoffman at the federal courthouse in Sioux City.